to puberty or not? I'm asking the audience a question. I'm asking the attendees a question. Answer this question to me. When a child becomes mentally mature, the age at which a child becomes mentally mature, is it tied to puberty or not? Give me the answer.
From experience that I have, no.
No. Well, that's the right answer. The answer is that mental maturity, meaning that you are mentally mature, you understand the world around you, you're able to understand right and wrong, you're able to interact socially with other people of your age and of people older than you, and you'll be able to understand that interaction and make decisions, right? You are able to conduct yourself. This is what we call, this is like mental maturity. This is not tied to puberty, right? If you study history, you will find, and in fact in the biographies of the Sahaba, you will find mentally mature children, and not a single hair has appeared on their face. No pubic hair has appeared under their armpits. These are mentally mature children, mentally mature, right? And the same you find in all of the nations as well. In all of the nations, because traditionally, in every nation, children were taught to become like adults at a very early age because of responsibility, because they had to work, because they had to take responsibilities that the parents put on them. Even at the beginning of this century in England, in Europe, children at the age of, before they were even 10, 11, 12, they were working in factories. They had to earn a living, they were working in factories at that age. They were mentally mature, right? So mental maturity has got nothing to do with puberty. Keep that in mind. A child can be mentally mature, male or female, male, without even having a single hair on his face or under his armpits, right? A girl can be mentally mature without even having reached menstruation. She hasn't reached a monthly cycles. She's fully mentally mature. Right? You understand that point now. That's point number 2. So once we understand this, the third point now is we have to understand that mental maturity, when does a child become mentally mature, is something that can change according to the environment, according to the circumstances, right? Social circumstances, economic circumstances, right? That's why today, in the 21st century, and it's pretty standard across all civilizations now because of the change in social life, political life, economic life, we see that the age of mental maturity has shifted and moved all the way across, and you find now that children do not become mentally mature until much later in life. Until, in fact, even, it's not an exaggeration, biologically, children become men or women and they're still not mentally mature. Right? So mental maturity, it moves and it fluctuates based upon social life, economic life, political life, and just how life journey is, and it shifts and it moves. Now, as I said to you before, that before the 20th century there was no concept of what we have now today as adolescence, right? Adolescence and the idea of teenage years, this is an invented idea, right? This is an invention. It's not my opinion. This is the view of researchers, academic researchers, social researchers, and all the research papers are out there. I have the research papers, and they study into the idea of adolescence. Adolescence, what this means is when a child becomes mature, shows the signs of puberty, they don't become an adult. Rather, there's a period of time in which they gradually become an adult. Right? This idea is an invention. It didn't exist before the 20th century. Right? And there are reasons for that. There are many factors and reasons given for that. Children were taken out of the workforce. Entertainment came along. entertainment, radio, then TV, then cinema, and the way it treated children, and by way of like figures and things like that, actors and whatever, which were idolized, in teenage life and all that nonsense. All of that is something that's a social idea imposed upon children, right? So this tells us that mental maturity is purely to do with the circumstances. You could have a child living in the South American jungle somewhere in the Amazon, 5 years old, 6 years old, who is mentally mature, has the skills of his father and the tribe, right? Is able to do, like ride an animal, hunt an animal, make a house, in the way that they make houses, fully mentally mature. No hair on his face, no hair under his armpits, right? And you can have a 20-year-old person living in the West, fed with Teletubbies and nurtured upon, everything that demolishes your mind and makes you a retrograde, a retard. Right? He will reach the age of 20 and he can't hammer a nail into a piece of wood. Right? Forget that, he can't even cut a loaf of bread. Right? So this shows that mental maturity and being competent as an adult, right, it has got nothing to do with what the government makes it legal. Do you understand? Right? There is biological adulthood, right? Biologically, which is the age of puberty, right? That's biological adulthood, right? There is the issue of mental maturity. You can be biologically an adult, you are not mentally mature though. You understand that, right? Then there is legal adulthood, right? So in these Western countries, they say you are legally an adult at the age of 18. Now you can engage, now you can drink. Now you can fornicate, right? Now you can become married. That's legal adulthood. This is a pure invention, right? Pure invention in all these laws. Opposes everything that was known in thousands and thousands of years of history. So, once we brought all of these facts together, we've mentioned, what did we mention first? What was the first point? Puberty? Yeah. Puberty. Then we mentioned mental maturity. Then we mentioned the effect of social life, economy, politics, and how it changes and how it affects mental maturity depending in location, time, place, and just the environment, whatever. Right, so now this brings us